Hi guys. I really hope everybody's feeling a little bit better today as we have entered 2024, and all I really want is for all of you to feel better. That would be such a highlight of 2024 for me, and of course for yourselves. But please know that I thinking about you, sending you love and healing thoughts all the time, and may 2024 be a huge healing shift for all of you. But today I'd love to talk about this great question that I received from someone about how I felt that, basically we got here. But of course, all I can do really is speak for myself, because I certainly asked myself that question. I remember one day I was just in deep despair and suffering, and you have plenty of time to think, so I had this deep longing for knowing, how did I get to this place? And literally a folder opened up in my brain. And I know I mentioned this in another video, but I just want, it's part of how I can answer the question that he asked. Was all of these memories that I had were literally stored in a folder in my brain, and each one of them showed themselves to me. And I remember just being a witness to this experience. I didn't judge it. It didn't make me feel worse. I just remember asking that question, how did I get here? And all of these memories just showed themselves. And it was quite something. It was all the painful and sad memories that my mind had interpreted. And it went back to the very beginning of the first time, I believe, in my young body that I felt unsafe. And I just would like to share this with you, because perhaps you too have an early memory of a trauma or an unsafe moment in your life. And it's not that I'm going back in time and I'm judging it, or I just have it as a reminder of, how did this all start in my little beingness? And for each one of you, it could be, of course, it's going to be a different type of memory. And it's not to judge it, it's just, I saw it and it made a big impression on me. I remember my mom, my dad, and I, who I found out later in life that this really wasn't my dad, and that's a whole nother story, but we were leaving a country that I was born in and lived in for the first 5 years of my life with my mom and her family. And we were coming over to America because he was a soldier, and we were coming to America to live because he was stationed he was going to be stationed in Fort Knox, Kentucky. So we landed and we were headed to his family's home, and he lived in the South. He grew up in Paducah, Kentucky, which was of course, all of this was going to be a huge change for my mom and I, because we were from Europe. So I remember we got out of the car and my mom and I were standing there and we were holding hands, and my father was walking forward because his dad was outside and his mom, and we looked over like to the right, and my grandfather, his father, was taking his fist and smashing it into the glass window on the driver's side of the car. And my mom and I were frozen. I remember that moment like it was yesterday. Frozen, interlocking hands, and witnessing this very violent person doing this. And he was trying to get his daughter, my dad's sister, to not take the car. And he thought, because she had locked the car door, he thought that by him punching in that glass window and grabbing her, that would stop her from taking the car. So I'm bringing that up because that was the very first moment of my life where I had experienced like a visual trauma to my little being. And I feel like for me, this was the very first moment that kind of activated the fear system in me, where I felt unsafe. Because I feel like that stored memory in me started this certain cycle of how I interpreted my environments. That's just, it's so amazing to me what the body and mind does. And I felt like from that moment, because when I lived in Europe and I lived with my grandparents, I was so loved, so safe, so nurtured, so cared for. And granted, I feel so blessed for those moments because I know a lot of you as very small children did not feel safe at all. So please. But to go from that moment of just enveloped in love and nurturing and caring to being introduced to fear, I felt was pivotal for my life. And I also feel that all of the other stresses, traumas, there's so many that we have, I feel, as we're aging and continuing to grow, into adulthood, we just experience more and more. And for some people, you can get into a car accident with another person. Say you have two people sitting in the car and you get in a car accident, and one person says, and nobody's really hurt, everything is physically okay, and one person will say, oh my God, that we are so fortunate that we are okay, and I'm so grateful. And they just kind of go about their business, while the other person is like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. That was the scariest moment. And you can see how these two people will carry the same event in a different way going forward in their life. And I feel that's how we all are. And for me, I felt like a stacking, like we all do. It's not just one event or one trauma that brings us to this place of having AFS like we do. It's many different things. It's a collective. It's ancestral transmissions of trauma over a course of years. And I know that even for my mom, going through a war and being separated from her family and all of that before I was even in her womb is passed down to me through generations, through the collective, through DNA. And those events those stresses are in us as natural things over time. So I just feel like there's so many pieces that come into play, why we are where we are. And, some people have had very traumatic childhoods. People have had very bad accidents. People have been on, alcohol, drug addicted, watching their parents going through bad relationships. And we're watching that continuously, how they're interacting. So we're like little sponges picking up all that information. We have seen, I've seen my mom being hit. That's traumatic. It's all different for all of us, but it's considered too much stress for our bodies to handle. And how we react over time, we start just interpreting, because we haven't healed, we start interpreting more and more information as this is not safe. I am not safe. Because that collection of events, again, just stacks and builds, and we're not really dealing with it the way we need to. So it just eventually hits like this crises point in our bodies, because our bodies start to just, our sympathetic nervous system starts to just interpret everything as this is dangerous. What you're experiencing is unsafe. So I think it's so many things that we go through in life that starts being passed down to us, for so many years, so many generations, that we're already wired for that collective dysfunction. And we haven't healed it as a collective aspect of our lives. And that's why we keep carrying it. But I feel now it's important to see where we have come from and to, acknowledge that information for ourselves. But for us now, it is not healthy to remain stuck in those time frames or those traumas or those experiences, because a lot of people may differ in their opinion about this, but I had to come to the realization in myself that my past is over and I need to move forward in my life. and I need to learn from my past, and I need to grow and understand that those are no longer, I've already gone through them. I've already experienced them. And I don't have to constantly relive them. And that's the pattern of our memories that we need to really break. Because, I realize that I can still remember just even this illness alone, how traumatic this illness was for me. But it's what am I going to do with those experiences now? Because I don't want to go back to it again. So I can't keep repeating the same old process that got me to this place. Again, I have to break that cycle of interpretation, of recall, of the pattern of staying in the pattern, the destructive pattern of thinking about what I've experienced, gone through, witnessed. And none of this is easy. But I remember, and this is also really important. I remember reading something with Dr. Lamb, and he had written that toxic relationships were a huge piece to this illness. And when I found that out, that also just, because I know that I had toxic relationships. I know I had some toxic relationships, and you can have toxic relationships with anyone, your family members, anyone. So toxic relationships are also a big piece. And also him saying it's a very psychological illness. So I could see all those pieces coming together that, okay. And, so that meant to me, I had to do the work on my psychology. I had to do a lot of training, brain training, if you will, to break these cycles of automatic thinking and putting this old pattern onto my new experience. Because that's so easy to do, because we're in such a reaction to everything now, where it's like just going outside feels like a threat. Just getting into the car feels like a threat. Just going to the store makes you anxious. Just getting together with people makes you anxious. So it's that awareness constantly of that was my past, and I want to grow from that. I don't want to live there anymore. And it's really like I wanted so much to learn from this experience, because I never, ever want to repeat this again. Because I remember that I have had AFS for years, and I just never knew what it was. And I've had some crashes when I was younger, and I had no idea it was this, because people just labeled it something else, anxiety, depression, whatever you want to call it. They still do that. The traditional medical model will still do that and put you on some type of drug that will, perhaps help you, which is absolutely amazing. And I'm not knocking pharmaceutical drugs, but I think they're definitely overused and can cause more harm at times than good. But I also believe, like my mom has this, and I've noticed it for years. She also had various symptoms. She's still struggling with this today, and we work on it continuously. She is going to be 86 years old, and the trauma of her life also gave her AFS. The only thing is that's different is she also has COPD, so that, you know, any type of breathing problem exacerbates anxiety. So you can understand why, you know, someone with a breathing problem could, you know, it could really affect your AFS. And, you know, my poor mom, but we work with this, and she works on it diligently. And, you know, this requires a lot of attention, and we have to do the work. There's nothing that you can do. Excuse me, there's nothing you can do. You have to consistently have strategies to move forward out of this and grow and evolve in yourself. And there comes a time when you do not interpret your environment as unsafe like you did when you had AFS. And that has been my work for myself. And I do it all. I push myself to do different things continuously and praise myself. I learn constantly, and I have to for myself. And because I don't want to be stuck. I don't want to be stuck. And I don't want to forever live in a fear bubble, because I saw how painful it was. And when I was ill, there was no control over it. I was stuck in fight or flight. And it's not like I could one day just say, Peter, you know what? You really just need to stop thinking about that and get over it. And that's what you have to do. And my illness would have said, you know, forget you. This is not happening. I don't believe you. And, you know, I'm going to do what I want, because that's definitely what AFS does, is it does what it wants. But again, it's such a variety of things that got us to this place. And it will be a variety of things that help get us out of this place. But I know if you do your strategies, if you continue to work on this psychological component of it, we have to retrain our brains. There is no way around that. We have to start to help ourselves to feel safe within ourselves. And there's so many strategies out there, but it's really all about learning and taking some information and deciding to use that information to help yourself. Because it takes time, and it's not, I think people get scared, they try something and then they're like, oh, this isn't working, so they just stop the process. They discontinue it too soon, because it takes us a while to get here, and it will take you a while to get out of this place. So I hope I hope I answered that question. And I feel for each and every one of you, because I know that it was a lot of stress that got you to this place in very, very, varying degrees of, so many things that got you to this place. And it's those things that I understand, and I'm here for you, and I know how that feels. But I too, by going through what I went through, it's my compassion and understanding to help people get through this now. That's what my illness did for me. Because everything that you say, everything that you think, everything that you feel, I totally understand it. And don't think for 1 second, every day I'm working on stuff. Every single day. Every single day I'm still working on a bunch of different things. And that's really what we have to do. And let's do it together. Let's go through this journey together and help each other. That's what it's all about. That's what this whole thing is all about. That's why this planet has so many issues, is that we're so separate. We need to come together and help each other in any way that we can. Because it's all about love and support and caring and bringing each other together. It's not about being separate. It's about being together, healing together, healing the planet together. And it starts with our own healing. And I know that 2024 is going to be a better year, because we're going to heal and look towards the future, make some little goals, and step by step, you will grow and evolve into the new you. And you will be an amazing inspiration for someone else that is going through a hard time or an illness, because you have the compassion, because you know what it's like. And you are so strong to have gone through it. Do you know how strong you are to go through this? This is amazing. I say it all the time to myself. Peter, you're so strong to what you've gone through. You're so strong. Nobody can bring you down because you went through this. I say that to myself all the time. I'm so strong. I'm so powerful. I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful. And I can't believe how strong I am now, having gone through this. That's what I feel like illness does. It challenges us. It forces us to go deeper, to really get in touch with who we are, what we want, how we want to be, how we want to grow, what we need to do to get there. That's what this illness teaches us. This illness is such a big teacher. And I think trauma now and these experiences are here, or what we went through, to help us to go deeper and to heal, to heal. And I know that we will do this together. Please ask me any questions and anything you want me to talk about. And we are on our way. That's right. We're on our way to better days ahead. This is what 2024 is about, healing. So guys, please know that I'm thinking about you. And again, I'm here for you. And if you could please like and subscribe, or send this video to anyone that you know that's suffering. Let's just help people. And please take care. And thank you so much for watching. And let's get through this together. Bye-bye. If I could turn this off, thank you.